Welcome, Chroniclers, to another episode of the Shotokan Chronicles. In today's video, I want to talk to you about something that I feel is an important thing to look at when you're looking for a dojo. And I have talked about this in the past. There are different kinds of karate, obviously. There are different styles, different instructors. There's amalgamations of styles where people have brought two different karate styles together and made something of their own. And all of that is great. It doesn't matter what style you're doing. But the thing I want to talk to you about today is organization. And there are many organizations out there, and I'm going to just stick for the sake of this video to different Shotokan organizations. I've been part of three, and the reason why I was part of three, it was because of the growing development in the organization within my own country, and how we progressed and how we've divided from previous organizations. But there are many. The main one for Shotokan that started back in the 1950s was the Japan Karate Association. The JKA was formed by Master Nakayama with Master Funakoshi as an figurehead to the organization. The JKA was originally supposed to be an organization that encompassed all karate styles in Japan. And there are organizations that are like that around the world today, like the WKF. The WKF is a sports organization which encompasses all different styles of karate, and they come together to govern tournaments for different styles of karate. And you would have noticed the WKF if you watched the Tokyo Games for the Olympics recently. Those events were overseen by the World Karate Federation. Now, the WKF is for sports, and there are other organizations that are designed Budo or more traditional styles of karate. Here in Canada, our country has Karate Canada. Now, Karate Canada is the national body that governs karate and is for all different styles of karate. There are some regulations in different provinces of the country that force karate tournaments to be overseen by Karate Canada or each provincial body of the organization. So, for example, there's Karate Nova Scotia, there's Karate New Brunswick, there's Karate PEI. Here in Nova Scotia, we have a different governing body for contact sports because of the Nova Scotia Boxing Committee and stuff like that. But throughout the rest of the country, there are different rules. Like in New Brunswick, for example, or Prince Edward Island, if you're having a tournament, it has to be sanctioned by Karate New Brunswick or Karate Prince Edward Island. As you go across the country, that's going to also apply in Canada. Now, these groups are multi-style groups where Shotokan, Shito-ryu, Chito-ryu, Wada-ryu, they're all going to be part of that governing body. But if we take the sports aspect away and move that aside, and we're going to go to traditional organizations like the JKA, there's also the ISKF, the International Shotokan Karate Federation, which is in most countries in the world. And again, as I mentioned, I was part of three of them. I was formerly part of the Japan Karate Association and formerly part of the International Shotokan Karate Federation. There's other groups. There's the Shotokan Karate Do International Federation. With those of you that have trained with Master Kanazawa, know that he was the founder and head instructor of that organization. There's other groups like Shotokan Karate of America. There's the International Traditional Shotokan Karate Federation. And there's the KUGB in Great Britain. There is so many groups, including the one that I am currently a member of, the International Karate Daigaku, which is headquartered here in Canada. We have all different experiences, different masters, different approaches to how we do karate. And you're going to see, no matter where you go, if the instructor in your dojo is from an organization, they're going to have kind of the same trend and kind of the same ideas and visions on how katas are performed, how techniques are done, how gradings are done, because those organizations all have a syllabus and standard for the most part. Some dojos you might go in and they might be off on a fringe somewhere where they're not visited by some of the masters in the organization very much. So they're using an older style of the kata, or they're using a different version of some techniques or something like that. So it's going to be a little different. But if you're in the main area where the masters usually go and travel a lot to and visit, you're going to see a lot of uniformity in that organization. So what's the difference between being part of a group and not being part of a group? So for example, there are dojos that I know of that are in my region within the provinces that are near me that are still Shotokan, but they're not part of any organization. So why not go with them instead of going with a group that is affiliated? Well, for one, for the most part, if you're in an affiliated group, you're going to have a master occasionally visit that is there specifically for your dojo or for a group of dojos that are going to come together for a clinic. That master is going to really be able to put a lot of information in front of you, to give you a lot of instruction, and to make sure that you're understanding what is being taught at a very high level. The groups that don't have a master, usually their instructor is the only person that ever tests them, is the only person that ever teaches them, and in some cases is the only person they're ever going to see in any kind of educational role in their karate training, unless they're in some kind of a sports organization where they're going to get together and do tournaments. Or they go to a clinic that is being promoted by an organization. There are some bad things about organizations if you want to look at it in a bad way. They're going to be a little bit more expensive to be part of. Organizations want you to spend an extra $50 a year, an extra $100 a year to have a membership. Some people aren't going to want to do that. But there's a reason. Organization is still a business. They have bills to pay. They have fees to take care of. They have other things that have to be done. So you're paying that $40 or $50 to help keep those organizations running. They have office people to pay. They have electricity bills to pay. They're the same as us. It's a business and they still have to keep their door open. The organization is designed, like I said, to bring you as much information and knowledge as possible. One of the great things about being part of an organization is there's usually an upper echelon. And that upper echelon is a group of masters, whether they're 5th dan and up, or in the case of JKA, ISKF, IKD, I know for sure you don't become a master until you're a 7th dan. And in some cases, you don't become a higher level master or a member of the Shihan Kai master level instructors unless you have passed all of the instructor programs. So that's something to strive for if you're working your way up through the ranks, is to be in the instructor program if you want to be a master. Those masters travel. They go to different countries, they go to different dojos, they go to different areas and teach. And learning from a master is one of the greatest things you can possibly do if you're training, if you're working as hard as you can to achieve different ranks. My personal dojo where I go to train 3 times a week for as many hours as I possibly can is run by a husband and wife that are both masters. He's an 8th degree master, member of the Shihan Kai Senate of the International Karate Daigaku, and she is a 7th degree black belt master, a member of the International Karate Daigaku Shihan Kai, as well as the tournament director and the executive secretary. So having that kind of knowledge that is being passed on to me 3 times a week for several hours, I think I've trained with them 5.5 hours a week total. That is a lot of possibility of learning from different people and learning from people that have gone the miles to be able to gain that knowledge to pass on. Also having the ability to bring in a 10th degree black belt master or a 9th degree black belt master or a different 8th or 7th degree black belt master from somewhere else in the world to teach at a clinic, at a grading, during a national, regional, international tournament, that is bar none. So if you have to pay 40 or 50 bucks a year to have the advantage of so much knowledge being passed on to you, it is well worth it. And I know in some cases people are going to disagree with that, and that's okay. If you're not part of an organization and you don't want to be part part of an organization because there is a lot of politics involved in that. Just for example, as I mentioned, I was part of the Japan Karate Association. Then I was part of the International Shotokan Karate Federation. And then sometimes they were both at the same time because the JKA and the ISKF were affiliates. And then there was a splintering because of political reasons. The ISKF became its own entity worldwide. Well, then a few years later, there was another splitting. The ISKF and one of the higher masters, Sensei Frank Wanatai, had some political issues, and there was another splintering, and the International Karate Daigaku was formed. Politics are going to be in everything. It's not just the people that are running your government. Politics are in everything that you do. It's in your work. It's in your kids' schools. It's in any activity that you do that there's some kind of governing body. There is going to be politics. So if you think you're escaping politics because or your karate dojo is not part of an organization, then you're sadly mistaken. If you're part of some kind of tournament grouping, there are politics involved. So just because you're thinking, oh, I don't want to be part of an organization because I don't want to be in politics, have to deal with politics. If you're in a tournament grouping like Karate Canada, so that you can compete in a tournament, you're still involved in politics. So keep in mind, there are things that are going to improve your karate. There are things that are going to keep it down. If it's an organization that's going to help you, great. If you don't think it's going to help you, great. It's up to you. Take a few moments, visit the Great North Apparel, use the coupon code Shotokan to get 30% off of your order. Also visit the link on the screen where you can purchase your very own The Shotokan Chronicles merchandise. Train hard, train safe, and we'll see you next time right here on The Shotokan Chronicles.